Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Welcome back to another episode of CCW Insider. I am your CCW correspondent, Tyler Cashmere here, joined alongside, of course, my CCW broadcast partner, the man that always gets the answers, Axel Rome, as well as the voice of CCW, one of the best ring announcers in the game, going Lizzie Almeida. She is back making her Insider return since July, I believe.
So happy to be home, guys.
Yes, so great to have you. We missed you, of course. The show couldn't be what it is without you, but I'm glad that you are back here sharing your beautiful insight and thoughts with us. How have you been, Lizzie?
I've been good, and I think I can speak for all of us when I say we've been busy.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Look at this, the chat showing love. Ezra.
Yay, Lizzie. And so busy that even my friend Lizzie was able to make the journey up to Central Florida and even my neck of the woods, Tampa, and joined us for Conquer Kissimmee 26 and Havoc and Hayes 5. And guys, if you missed any of those two shows, there's just so much to unpack. I mean, let's start off with the biggest upset in CCW history, I would say. We crowned new tag team champions at Conquer Kissimmee 26. That's right. Stallion Rogers and Danny Briggs are our new CCW Tag Team Champions, dethroning the crown, something that we thought we'd never, ever have to say in this show or ever in CCW. But, guys, it finally happened. And what a match. I mean, if you guys weren't there, I definitely hope we are able to put this match up on our CCW Live Wrestling YouTube page because you need to see how this match went down. It was crazy, to say the least.
I didn't even want to announce it. I couldn't, when you see something, you're there, you're watching, and you're just in denial for those moments. You're like, that didn't just happen. And then just that silence in the crowd. You could hear a pin drop. So definitely a very big surprise, to say the least.
I know just on social media, seeing it for the first time, it's like, is this like an April Fool's joke, come early or late, like what is going on here? Danny Briggs and Stallion Rogers got the job done. It seems unbelievable, but then when you look at it, you go, man, I mean, if there was ever a team to get that job done, it's those two guys right there. And I mean, like I said, just the dominance of the crown. We're seeing now these dominant champions that we had here in the last territory, Meadow, the crown now, taking a step back. I mean, they both dominant champions falling now, and now we got a new era. We got Jackal as Southeastern champion, now Danny Briggs and Stallion Rogers as your tag team champions. Only in the last territory things like this can happen. But Axel, that was not only the breaking news that happened over this weekend.
That wasn't. We had new tag team champions, but CCW has also now lost one more tag team faction in our CCW tag team division. If you weren't there in Tampa, you don't know this, but the Heavenly Butterflies are no more. And my heart is broken in a million pieces, just like with the Night Riders. And the question that's on everyone's mind is really, why, Tony? Why betray your best friend Fabu after 4 years of being a tag team, after winning championships together, after making debuts on AEW, on Ring of Honor, on really being a cohesive team for the last 4 years? Throwing it all away for what? And that's what we're really trying to get down to. I know Lizzie was also there witnessing everything there in Tampa, and I was just completely shocked when I went to the back and found a very bloodied Fabu waiting to talk to me after what went down in his match.
Didn't see it coming. None of us did, honestly. I mean, They've been together so long. They're so close. They, have an alliance with Hardcore Horvath. They were building such great momentum as well here in CCW. Definitely a team that I would see in the near future going for the tag team championships. But yeah, it looks like Tony's had enough of what I don't know, but Tony's had enough.
And part of me then wants to question Hardcore Horvath's involvement. Was it maybe Horvath placing a bug in Tony's ear? It just seems a little strange to me that the new addition to Hardcore to this group, and then weeks later, we see the destruction of this beautifully metamorphosized group that we've seen throughout the years. But in due time, I'm sure we'll find out the motives and what now Hardcore Horvath and Tony have, what's next on their agenda here in CCW now that they've kicked Sabu out.
Right. And I think you asked the main question. We saw it there on the graphic. Lizzie brought it up. I mean, you got the Heavenly Butterflies. They're getting on a roll. Everyone here in the last territory is starting to get used to them, starting to see how good they can really be in this tag team division. And just is a shame, we didn't get a chance to see them really go after tag team gold. And it's just why, Tony, why? We have to ask those questions. And hopefully we get some answers here. You never know if Hardcore Horvath there, like you said, Axel, maybe he was in Tony's ear the whole time. We will have to see. I mean, it just goes to show the last territory. You got to keep up with it every step of the way. We have so many shows. Anything can happen at any one of these shows. And like that, breaking news over the weekend. I mean, 2 giant things happening, new champions, and then a tag team gone, broken up, betrayal. But Axel, the weekend is behind us. It was amazing. Our North shows they are just growing and growing, just getting more popular and more popular. Kissimmee and Tampa show out every time. But now we got to look forward. We got to look Saturday. Summer Glory, our super show. We are back in Port St. Lucie. But before we get into all that, Axel, we got a special guest. We got to break down this card, but we got to get to that intro.
Now, our next guest, I'll allow Tyler to do the formal introduction, but I just want to say, first and foremost, I am so excited to have her here with us. I've been wanting to meet her in person for the longest time, but you know what? This virtual interaction will do. But without further ado, Tyler, please let our viewers know who is joining us today for our special panel.
Well, Axel, I would usually do the normal introduction, but I think we got a woman of the hour here. We got Lizzie. I think only Lizzie can introduce this next guest. Yes, Lizzie, the floor is yours.
Well, it is my pleasure to announce from the prestigious Berkshire County, the most captivating woman in the world, my very dear and close personal friend, Miss Julie Cutler.
Lacey, that was so beautiful. I love that for me. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm beyond excited to be here. I know we were chatting a little before the show about how, Lacey I've known for quite some time, but the rest of us have all been kind of following each other. And it's been a long time coming that we've all wanted to work together. So I really appreciate you guys having me.
So during this little time when we bring our guest over, we want to get the people from our CCW fan base to get to know some of our guests here. So for anyone that's not very familiar with Julie, with what you do, let's give a little rundown of your resume of what you do here in the professional wrestling industry.
What doesn't she do?
Exactly. Well, what don't you do?
I've done a little bit of a lot of different things. I feel like my journey in the pro wrestling business, it's kind of been like just one happy accident after another, one opportunity falling into my lap after another. There's Tony of Toned In Entertainment. Yes. Speaking of whom, Tony and I do a lot of interviews together over on his channel, and Tony also attends a lot of the CCW shows and will shoot interviews with a lot of the talent behind the scenes, and he is a wonderful person. So thank you so much, Tony, for tuning in, and I will see him tomorrow on his podcast. But my background actually kind of started in podcasting sort of on accident. I was invited back in 2021, late 2021, to do just a very small podcast that was sort of based around like wrestling fandom. And I've been a wrestling fan since I was very, very young, probably about 6 years old. And so I figured, why not? It sounds like a fun opportunity. I might as well give it a try. And it turned out that I had a really great time doing it. And so I was lucky enough that I had some connections, some friends that were sort of in the wrestling podcasting business that I sent that show around to. And by doing that, I started getting some more podcasting opportunities. And that upcoming spring, the spring of 2022, I started working more regularly with Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful, who pretty much everybody in the wrestling business knows who Sean Ross Sapp is. And I think that it's pretty regularly agreed upon that Fightful is like one of the most reliable sources for wrestling news, and they tend to break a lot of the wrestling news first. So that was a huge opportunity for me, for Sean to believe in me for whatever reason, to bring me in for mainly AEW pay-per-view content, which again, really happy accident for me, because at that point in time there was a lot going on in AEW behind the scenes, particularly Double or Nothing that year. There was the whole like MJF plane gate situation, and then that fall All Out. And so I think that there was a lot more viewership than there normally is, and there's usually like a pretty solid viewership to begin with, but I think there were a lot of people tuning in just to kind of try and get that behind the scenes scoop as to what was going on. And so as a result of doing that, I started getting live event interviewing opportunities, including an opportunity with Pro Wrestling Action based down in Florida with Dan Max Shaw and Dr. Eric Christopher, who are also closely tied in with CCW. I know Dr. Eric is still actively managing there, and Dan Max Shaw has done interviewing and ring announcing for many years in the past as well. So I started doing that, and then kind of took that experience up to where I am based out of in Massachusetts, and fell into a promotion where I ended up doing ring announcing. And so that's a large part of what I'm doing now. I'm the exclusive ring announcer for Rebel Spirit Pro Wrestling up here in Massachusetts. And I do have some things planned for the future. A little bit of behind the scenes stuff that I've been doing. I've attended a couple of, wrestling seminars with names like Dr. Tom Pritchard and Kenny Dykstra from WWE. So I've been doing some other developing behind the scenes as well, other developments in other areas of my career. So I don't want to give too much away, but my next step is I'm going to be coming down to CCW in October in Kissimmee, Florida. So I will be seeing all of you, or at least some of you, in person then.
Yes. And we're all very excited to have you down here at CCW. Join us. I mean, it's such a great feeling to have someone else come here and be part of the Last Territory, because I know that this Last Territory is really growing and just exploding. And like Tyler, myself, and Lizzie always say, that no one really here in the Florida scene is doing it like CCW. So to have someone like you come here is just a testament to just what CCW has to offer for so many wrestling fans, that so many people want to be part of this ever-growing company here in Florida. And I mean, from moving to Tampa now, our latest news show that we've been doing, we're just hoping to take over really all of Florida, is my hope.
And you guys are doing it well. I've been following CCW for the past couple of years now. There's been a lot of big names that have come out of CCW. There's a lot of big names that are choosing to come into CCW because it just has such great visibility and such great talent and a great broadcast team, clearly. So I've been wanting to be a part of it for quite some time, and I'm really excited that it's finally coming to fruition.
Yes, and we couldn't start really this panel off with one of those top broadcasters who's also decided to join CCW. She joined us a couple months ago. Tyler, if you would do me the honor, please invite our friend Ms. Xenia here to CCW Insider. And there she is! After having some internet problems, she's here. She chose to be here. Why? Because you guys. Because CCW Insider on a Wednesday. It's the place to be, exactly. On a Wednesday at 7 p.m. What else you guys have to do? Listen to CCW Insider. That's what. So thank you so much, Julie, for joining us. And Xenia, welcome back.
Yeah, had some technical difficulties, but I absolutely had to be here because, like Tony already said in the chat, we have a very special guest, Julie Carter, and we have two of the best ring announcers in the industry on the show today. Of course, Lacey, the voice of CCW, and Julie. So, we're about to talk about a very big, exciting show, biggest show of the summer. So of course I had to be here. I
Yes.
overcame, I persevered, and I'm here.
Yes. Thank you so much. But
just real quick. First of all, I appreciate you making such a complimentary comment about my ring announcing. And I just wanted to jump in really quickly because Lisi and I have been good friends for quite some time now, and I have to put her over because I really look at her like a big sister, like the big sister that I never had, and
I think we all do.
And I love
gosh, I'm gonna blush.
I love watching what other people in the industry, what other ring announcers and interviewers for other companies are doing, and I love pulling like little bits and pieces from what other people are doing, seeing what other people are doing that things that other people are doing that I like. And so I just had to shout her out really quickly because I always like to watch her videos and see how she does things and sort of like take little nuggets from her as well.
Thank you. You guys are so kind. Please stop.
It's just this is the most wholesome insider ever. Just let's go CCW. Let's go broadcast team. But guys, like we've been saying, we got a huge card we got to break down. Every time we go to Port St. Lucie, it's every other month, and it's our super show. I mean, we try to pull out all the stops here. I always see Port St. Lucie as like our middle grounds. We got the fans from Kissimmee, fans from Tampa, media in Port St. Lucie, then all our friends from Miami going to Port St. Lucie, and then we all celebrate the last territory, and we are back with Summer Glory. Let's get on our way. Let's get that beautiful poster up there. And as you can see, the real one up there. What a poster. Unbelievable. And let's get into this first match. Let's get into something crazy. I just love this match. This is just insanity.
Yes.
We got the team of Alex Chamberlain, Eddie Valentine, and Chico Adams with, of course, Dr. Eric Christopher in their corner. And, you know, this is just a murderer's row team. I mean, just three bullies of the last territory. And then you got Dr. Eric Christopher out there. Just guys that, you know, the fans really don't like all that much. And then you look at the other corner, and it could not get any more opposite. Such personalities coming out with skits, Ozzy Killmeister, and the debuting in the last territory, Dan the Dad. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have not seen Dan the Dad, he has been on fire around the country on the independent scene. He has really been making a name for himself. He has one of the most unique styles you've ever seen, and combined with Ozzy Killmeister and skits, it's going to be one hell of a team. And before we start breaking it down, our very own Axel Rome here got a word with Dr. Eric Christopher. So let's see what he has to say.
Dr. Eric Christopher, your plan to defeat David Mercury here at Havoc in Haze 5 did not go as you had hoped. Can you tell me what went wrong in your match?
Yeah, you're right, Axel. You're right. David Mercury, congratulations. You finally got a win. But it was at the expense of ruining the return of the extraordinary Chico Adams. Tell him how you feel, big boy.
This is not how I wanted my return to Coastal Championship Wrestling to go.
No, it's not. No, it's not, Chico.
Now, David, perhaps I underestimated you. Hell, it was my first time here. Perhaps you had the home field advantage. But I'm not going to sit here and make excuse after excuse. But if there's one place that Chico Adams knows all too well, and that's Port St. Lucie.
I see what you did there. Well, speaking of Port St. Lucie, how are you guys now planning to prepare for your match against Monster Mosh and Dan the Dad?
It's real simple, Axel. The homecoming, the reunion for Chico Adams and Dr. Eric Christopher in Port St. Lucie. And I've put together the most diabolical team that this company has ever seen with Chico Adams, Eddie Valentine, and Alex Chamberlain. So Dan the Dad, Monster Mosh, get ready. Because we're coming to Port St. Lucie to Summer Glory.
Yeah.
And we're going to make sure that not only does everyone bow down, but that no one is safe. It's going to be extraordinary, isn't it? Yeah!
Extraordinary.
Well, Axel, you're the one that got the scoop, so I want to go to you. What do you think about what Dr. Eric Christopher had to say, and who do you think is going to be the winning team in this absolute crazy six-man we got here?
Well, it looks like Dr. Christopher is not lacking any confidence. I mean, he does have a point when you have the team of Eddie Valentine, Alex Chamberlain, and then Chico Adams. I mean, that is just one brutal team to even fathom that they're going to come together into one ring to face against Monster Mosh and Dan the Dad. However, as confident as Dr. Eric Christopher may seem, you have Monster Mosh on the other side, right? We all know that Monster Mosh has been a great team as of late. And then the addition of Dan the Dad, I think it's just going to add more to this unpredictability that I always feel like follows Skits around. Whenever you have someone like Skits and Ozzy, now Dan the Dad, three different styles of wrestling and wrestlers that you don't think are going to mesh well. I'm very interested to see how that match is going to go. But to say as to who may pick up the win, I think I'm going to have to side this time with Dr. Eric Christopher's team. I mean, given that they just came from Chico Adams, just got a loss here at Havoc and Hayes from the CCW return, I don't think Chico's going to want anyone to spoil any more returns of his, especially in Port St. Lucie, a town that he's very familiar with. So I'm going to have to give this one to Eddie Valentine, Alex Chamberlain, and Chico Adams.
I mean, it's one hell of a pick. I mean, you siding there with the doctor. It's not the fan favorite pick, but hell, it might be the smart money there, Axel, because, you got so much excitement here with Dan the Dad on the other team. I mean, I don't know, Xenia, Julie, are you guys any familiar with Dan the Dad? Any thoughts on Dan the Dad coming into the last territory?
I'm personally not familiar with Dan the Dad yet, although after discovering him today, I will definitely be familiarizing myself. I am, however, very familiar with some of the other folks in this match, including the newly reunited Chico Adams and Dr. Eric Christopher. And I will say, although they were not victorious this past weekend, the two of them together are a very dangerous team, because Dr. Eric Christopher, if you know him, you know he likes to do a lot of finagling behind the scenes. And that being said, I think we need to consider that although they're not a part of this match, there are those variables of Joe Garcia and Dr. Eric Christopher's big, scary masked wife, Agony, who we don't know what kind of involvement.
Julie, he threatened to kill us, and you're calling him.
That's what I was going to ask. That's what I was going to ask, Tyler. If you could just run back some of those messages when we were talking to Julie earlier from Agony. I mean,
what are you doing, Julie?
Oh God, there he is.
Yes.
He said no one is safe.
And that's what I'm saying. We don't know what they're capable of. We don't know what they're capable of, you guys. And with that association with Dr. Eric Christopher, I think that is very risky. It's risky.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all that being said, I am familiar with Dan the Dad. I've seen him wrestle across the states. I've seen him wrestle in Minnesota, in Philadelphia, in Texas. And I've actually done a nice sit-down long-form interview with him. And as much as goofy of a character he might seem, he's actually very serious about his wrestling. So in spite of all the fun and unthreatening aura, I wouldn't underestimate Dan the Dad. He is a very serious in-ring competitor. And not only that, not only the moveset, but he's also not afraid to whip out his belt. And he's also not afraid to punish his opponents for being bad boys. And if there's one thing we can confidently say about Eddie Valentine, Alex Chamberlain, and Chico Adams is they have been bad boys. So the vengeance might be coming for them in the face of Dan the Dad this weekend.
Yeah, the team of Eddie Valentine, Chico Adams, they have to watch out with Alex Chamberlain. Those three guys, they're in there. They're big and bad in the last territory. But if Dan, the Dad, gets his coffee, he's unstoppable. He really is. And let's move on to our next match. It's going to be such a fun 6-man tag match. I can't wait for it. Going into our next match, let's go to Chris Farrow taking on Pretty Rich Wise. And last time we were in Port St. Lucie and Pretty Rich Wise came out there, I've not seen such a warm reception for Pretty Rich Wise. Is Pretty Rich Wise turning over this Port St. Lucie crowd? Do they want to get STDs with Pretty Rich Wise? That is sexy, tasty, delicious with Pretty Rich Wise. But he's going against the only man in the last territory to be a 2-time former Cruiserweight champion, Lissy. who do you think has the advantage going into this, and who do you think the crowd's going to get behind in this? Because I don't know, Pretty Rich Wise is pretty popular in PSL.
Despite what you say, I think that Chris Farrow is always the favorite. Doesn't matter what venue we go to. Chris Farrow is known for putting on bangers, and he's going to be the first one to tell you that, and he backs it up. So, Rich, I don't think that we're ready for the STDs quite yet, big dog. We're going with Farrow, period.
Sounds good. I mean, how do you not go with Farrow? Again, it's the smart money pick in this one. Farrow being a former 2-time Cruiserweight champion, so much to prove. And this is a great matchup for Pretty Rich Wise, because Pretty Rich Wise, he doesn't get wins often, but if you could step in there against a guy and you could get a win over him like Chris Farrow, then that puts you right in line. You have to think for that Cruiserweight championship, maybe another rematch against Ozzy. You never know. And Chris Farrow, it's always, he takes it so serious. And anytime he could get a win, he takes it so serious. And look at Rich Wise. You wouldn't know smart if it smacked you upside the head.
Wow.
Good to
words.
Man, our chat is busy tonight. We got a masked man in here. We got Dr. Eric Christopher saying Chico Eddie Chamberlain will dominate. And then we got Pretty Rich Wise. This card is just loaded. Just unbelievable card. So much fun action coming up. And I think let's get into our first championship match of the night, the Women's Championship. Ooh. Ruthie J versus this name. Lissy can attest to this. Ashley Dembois.
Dembois.
It's French.
Dembois. There we go. And I want to go to Julie. Julie. Ruthie J seems like anytime she's in the last territory and she defends this women's championship, she just finds a way to retain it, whether it be disqualification, the enforcer, Nikki Blackheart getting involved. Any way she can, she retains this championship. But we know Ashley has been on a roll in pro wrestling. She's very familiar with the last territory. She's had many good showings. Can Ashley be the one to take this championship from Ruthie J?
This is a really tough one, because if you've seen both of these women, they're both powerhouse women. And Ruthie J, she's really on a roll right now, not only in CCW, but she recently signed an exclusive contract with the NWA. She's been killing it in the gym. I've been seeing her on social media. She is like really on top of her strength training right now. And then with Nikki Blackheart in her back pocket, I think this is going to be a really tough one, but I'm predicting that we're going to see Ruthie J staying on top this time.
Again, hey, you got to go with the one with the more championship experience in the last territory. Now, Xenia, I know you keep a close eye on our women's division. Who do you think? Do you agree with Julie's pick there? Ruthie J walking out here still women's champion.
Not only do I keep a close eye on the CCW women's division, but also on Ashley Dembois' career, because she's appeared a lot in AEW, she's appeared a lot in the Indies all over Florida, and she's somewhat freshly back from an injury, which could be a good thing or could be a bad thing, because, you know, the ring rust might be there, she might not be fully on the roll yet, but also she might be well rested, recovered, and in her best physical form ever. So it's really a toss-up. We really don't know. But like we've been mentioning, Ruthie J with Nikki Blackheart in her corner has been a unit that has to be reckoned with in the CCW women's division. So I really don't know. But if you really had me back in the corner and made me choose, I might go with Ashley, because she has a lot of experience all around the States and around the world. And she might just have been training for this for months, and she might be in her best shape ever.
I mean, it's a great point. One thing we can keep in mind with Ruthie J, I mean, she has so many big name victories, names like Roma and that street fight, which we really got to see that aggressive side of Ruthie J come out. And ever since that street fight, I feel like Ruthie J's really turned her attitude like really not up a notch, and like she just does not care about anyone except her in that CCW Women's Championship. And it's just going to be such a great singles match, because right now Ruthie J whether it be by hook or crook, she's going through the women's division and she's getting win after win, and she is retaining that women's championship. Now, moving on from there, we got singles action as the 305 boy Domino is back in Port St. Lucie, taking on the newly crowned one half of the tag team champions, Stallion Rogers. And this match, I mean, how can you not like this singles match? You got Domino, who, we said it again, he's rid himself of 5-star era. It's time to focus on Domino, get this singles career going. He's just been going after anyone he can get his hands on. Meadow, James Tapia, now Stallion Rogers. He knows that Stallion Rogers, so experienced, has experience in NXT, is now a champion. I mean, this is a golden opportunity for Dom. He's got to cash in on it, but can he do it? Let's go to Axel. What do you think about this one?
If I'm being honest, I'm scared for Domino. When you have to step inside of the ring, Stallion Rogers, a man who just defeated the Crown, right? I mean, he did have assistance of a tag team partner, Danny Briggs, to do so. But this man, we know that he has one of the hardest chops in pro wrestling, probably in ever. I mean, every time he chops someone, you know, guaranteed that person is going to go home, not only feeling it the next couple of days, but also with a visual representation on their chest of that full handprint right there. However, Domino, definitely not scared of Stallion Rogers, definitely not going to back down from this match. He definitely has had some great momentum going into PSL. And I would say between these two gentlemen, the one that has to prove the most, maybe will be Domino. He wants to remind people that he is still a top contender. We may have crowned a new Southeastern champion, but he doesn't want people to forget that he's still a contender for that Southeastern champion. And he probably has his eyes set on Jackal Stevens now that a new era for the Southeastern championship has been crowned. But if I had to go between one of these two guys, I'm going to say that the winner will be the fans. And I hope that both men have a great time in this match. I'm only going to use it once. And it's going to be on this one
for the evening,
because I do hope that both men put on a showing for the fans. And the real winners, you guys, are going to be all of us, because we're going to see one hell of a match there. Port St. Lucie between Domino and Stallion Rogers. Who I think is going to get the upper hand, I don't know, because personally, I know both gentlemen, and I don't want to hear about this when I have to get them after their match to get their thoughts, and then they want to bring this up on me. I'm trying to be smart here about how I go about with my backstage interviews, guys. So I'm going to give this one to the winner will be the fans.
That's the real winner will be. Cop-out answer, playing both sides. But hey, I understand, Axel. You got to get the questions from Johnny B. Good, saying those slaps will wake you up more than Cafecito for sure.
Oh,
and
definitely.
That is for sure. And I have to agree with Johnny there. You look at Stallion Rogers, you think about his experience, you think about his hard-hitting style, his Japanese influence. It's just, he is the wrestler's wrestler, and he has the resume to prove it. And, I'm notorious on this show. I don't know if Domino is watching, but he always brings it up to me. He goes, how come you always pick against me when I'm away? He goes, because every time I'm in Port St. Lucie or I'm in Kissimmee or Tampa, I go, because, you got that crowd down here in South Florida, and I know they're going to back you up, and it fires you up. And I always pick you when you're down here. But when you go away, I don't know that away games. I don't know about Domino, but he has shut me up. Domino has that domination riding with him all day long. And I think that Domino pulls up this upset victory, and he gets the win over Stallion Rogers. It's any man's match. I think that's what's awesome about this card as well. All these matches, they're just 50-50s. They're toss-ups. Anything can happen in the last territory. And let's move on to our next match, which just got added. I'm looking forward to this one. The South American Alliance, the team of Alan S2S Martinez, taking on the Raw Dogs. Now, the Raw Dogs, they say they're always on top. They have done anything in their power to get to the top, but they haven't lasted there too long. Usually their antics end up biting themselves on the rear end, you can say. And the South American Alliance, it's Summer Glory, SAA. They always show up in these big matches. Lizzie, what do you think about this one?
So we've seen the Raw Dogs from the beginning, right? I think that we have to give them their flowers in a sense. They've been through a lot together. They've really been building as a team. But you saw last weekend, Elliot Crow really did say it. He's like, just when I'm right there, something always happens. So maybe Raw Dogs are not going to be on top much longer. And then, of course, they're respectfully, as a group, they're babies in this business. The South American Alliance, they are grown men in this business. They've been wrestling a long time. You have the mix combination that I love of Vinicius, big man, doesn't say much, gets it done. And then you have Alan S2S Martinez, technician and high flyer. Between the two of them, they have it all. So sorry, I think it's Raw Dogs on the bottom this coming Saturday.
If I may interject, and I'm going to be the pot stirrer right here. We have seen at the previous Bash at the Brew, we saw an unlikely alliance with Shelly Benson now adding herself or now being part of the Raw Dogs, maybe in some unexpected way or fashion. So who knows if she's going to even be here for Summer Glory, and maybe she might play that variable or that X factor that may give the South American Alliance a big upset at PSL. I mean, with recently having a new Southeastern champion and a new CCW tag team champions, I think we're at a time in CCW that anything can happen, and maybe the Raw Dogs pull the upset of the night and take down the South American Alliance. Just a thought.
Hey, Nelio agrees with you, saying Shelly Benson is a future star. I mean,
he's a star right now, Nelio.
He's a star right now.
I think you put Shelly Benson with the Raw Dogs. I think they elevate each other. I think they're going to be a group you have to keep your eyes on. Julie, what do you think about this? You know, South American Alliance, they really hold things down here in the last territory. When you think of CCW in one way or the other, you think of South American Alliance, but you got the pups coming up. You got the Raw Dogs, the young guns. Will they upset the South American Alliance?
I'm going to take the safe road with this question, Tyler. I know, Axel, you just came in as the pot stirrer. You went from the fans are going to win to I'm going to stir the pot. I'm going to take the safe road here. And for my own job security, because I really want to see you guys in October, I'm going to say whichever team Vinicius is on is the winning team for me.
Yeah, the Brazilian Destroyer, the size advantage. I mean,
he's got the size. He's got the intimidation factor. I would take one look at that man, and I would respectfully bow out.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his resume is enough, but I know that the Raw Dogs, they're scared of no Brazilian Destroyer. The Raw Dogs will step up anytime. Xenia, what do you think about this match?
You know, we have to be careful. We've had all kinds of wrestlers popping in the chats today. So, yeah, what if Vinicius is watching? And he's also going to track us down and smash us. So we have to be careful. But I do have to agree with Lacey that it might just come down to the sheer experience. And the South American Alliance just know the ins and outs of the business, just know how to go about the match and know how to destroy their opponents, how to find their weak spots. So I might just have to pick South American Alliance.
Hey, it's a safe bet. I mean, the South American Alliance, more experienced, you know, have the size advantage going into this one. The Raw Dogs, they say they're on top. We will see at Summer Glory. This next match, I'm so excited for this next match. This next match is what I like to call an insider exclusive. Nelio might not know that this is coming up here, but it is Cahagas versus Cha-Cha Charlie. We got two former CCW, not only Southeastern champions, but heavyweight champions going to battle. Cahagas, former NWA champion. I have done so much studying and film tape on old school CCW, doing commentary over the old tapes and seeing Cahagas out there. And now it's almost like that old guard coming back into the last territory, taking on Cha-Cha Charlie, the face of the franchise, the golden goose, the measuring stick, whatever you want to call him. And this is just going to be an unbelievable singles match. I am so excited to call this one. If anyone wants to chip into this one, go ahead, because you know I'm over here marking out over this one. I'm so excited for this.
I have to say, and I tell Cha-Cha this every time I see him. I mean, you said it pretty well yourself. He is for as long as I've been following CCW the past couple of years, he has very largely been like the face of CCW. I always tell him, I'm like, you're the mayor of CCW. You are Florida's special boy. I think that this is Cha-Cha territory. And I feel pretty confident about that. No matter where he goes, all throughout the state of Florida, and even when he does travel on a national scale as well, it's just so easy for the crowd to get behind him. And I think that he already has so many people in the crowd behind him. And I think that energy, the fact that he's been on top of his game for so long, the fact that this is his home territory, I think this is his to win.
I think he'll agree with you.
Yes.
The question is, has Cha-Cha Charlie gotten too comfortable? Is he too secure in the thought that everyone on the main roster that has taken on him couldn't defeat him? Is he too comfortable, almost never losing, being the golden goose, having the crowd behind him? So this new, well, not a new phase, but a new return, right? Cahagas might be the person to actually bring Charlie back to Earth and actually maybe destroy some of his hubris, because like Tyler mentioned, also a former CCW champion, former NWA champion. I feel like in terms of just sheer experience, power, and ability, this is a very, very even matchup. So maybe this will be the wake-up call for Cha-Cha Charlie.
Yeah, and I think Cha-Cha Charlie, it's been a while since he stepped in there with someone on the a little bit more of that evil side, if you will. That Cahagas, he just has that dark energy around him, and Cahagas, when Cha-Cha goes in there against someone like that, someone that will do anything it takes to beat their opponent, doesn't matter if it has to miss them in the face, has to use a chair, anything, Cahagas will do it. That brings something out of Cha-Cha Charlie, something we see a little bit when he gets into these cage matches, when he gets into these street fights, that ruthlessness side of Cha-Cha that I think we all kind of like to see a little bit of Cha-Cha show. And I think Cahagas will pull that out of Cha-Cha this Saturday. And I think this match is just going to be such a special match for anyone that's been keeping up with the last territory for so long. And I can't wait for it. And I think before we talked about our last match, we got to run a couple of commercials here.
So you want to become a pro wrestler? Get off the couch and step in the ring. The CCW training facility is accepting new students now. Join the longest running professional wrestling school in the southeastern United States. Absorb over 3 decades of knowledge and learn from head trainer professional wrestling legend Gangrel, David Heath. Push yourself to limits you never knew you had. Are you a future champion? Think you got what it takes? Call now, 954-953-7125, or apply online today.
That's right, a quick plug-in for the CCW training facility down in Pompano Beach, Florida. For anyone that's actually interested in doing what we do, whether that be a referee, a manager, a ring announcer, commentator, or actually an in-ring competitor, CCW training facility is where to go if you want to get your start here and be the star that you know you can be here in the professional wrestling industry. How Tyler and myself got our start over about a year ago next month, really. We one day found out about CCW, looking for a broadcast team, and look, here we are a year later. So if you want to have this kind of great journey with a great company that's ever growing, and it's so, I feel like we're also very lucky and fortunate to be part of it, definitely go check it out. Check out our website, ccwrestlingfl.com, for more information on how you can start your journey today, not tomorrow, today, maybe even tonight, you guys. Tonight, it's still early enough, tonight.
Is it really a year for you two?
Yep.
September next month is going to be a full year in CCW. I know it's going in a flash. I'm not going to lie. I didn't want to, can't even think about it, honestly, but yeah.
My brother and my child.
Double wrestleversary. Yes. Look at you guys.
Yes. Actually, I think both of our first day with CCW was the same day at a breakout. Was Tyler's first day working a CCW event and mine, because I went up to him and asked him, hey man, so what do we do around here? He's like, I don't know, man, I'm just as new as you. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I was like, great question, Axel. But yeah,
let's go find out. Yeah,
CCW training facility, you go there, chase your dreams, and then you when you're done with it, you come out a better person. And that's all that matters, really. CCW training facility, check it out. And we got a couple more things to plug in. Bash at the Brew, Listen, we got these mugs for sale. They are unbelievable. You could get them online at CCW's website, $25. It is going to be our last bash at the brew at Unbranded Brewery, August 31st. You got to get your mug. And while you get your mug, get your new shirt because we got one last bash. I mean, look at that shirt design. It is just, it's gorgeous, really. I mean, you have to get it.
Really
once these limited features are gone, they're gone. That's it. So you definitely want to invest in these. I mean, it's part of CCW history after all.
It is. I mean, you got to be a part of history. You got to make sure to come out to that August 31st show. Nelio saying that throwing into the deep end at CCW, we always get thrown into the deep end at CCW. Everybody. Yeah, I mean, we just have.
All of us.
That's the best way to learn.
Speaking from personal experience, all of us.
And then before we move on to the main event, I also want to shout out, of course, Kevin Sullivan. You know, rest in peace. This episode we did Monday, Nelio hosted it with Fonzie. Lizzie, you were on it. So many special guests, so many special stories. I recommend everybody to check out this episode. Insights on all of our socials. It got re-uploaded. Go to YouTube. Check out this episode of Insider. It is so special to us here at CCW. I know Kevin Sullivan meant so much to everybody. And I mean, he laid out the groundwork for us to just be here talking about CCW, talking about the last territory. So again, thank you, Kevin Sullivan, and may you rest in peace. And man, just so much Kevin Sullivan love this past week. It's been amazing. Again, check out that episode of Insider. And before we get to our main event, we got a lot to talk about here and plug. Summer Glory. There is going to be an after party. We have been promoting it. It is going to take place at the St. Lucie Draft House after the Summer Glory event. So once the wrestling is done, you can go to St. Lucie Draft House, get something to eat, get something to drink, meet the stars of CCW, and party it up a little bit. And
I'll be there.
And now, guys, I think we could talk about our last match here. Real One is making his return to the last territory, taking on Danny Briggs. These two are former NXT Tag Team Champions, respectively, not together, but both in their careers, former NXT Tag Team Champions. So much experience with either one of them, completely different styles. Oh, yeah. And I think both of these guys, when they saw that they were scheduled to go toe-to-toe, I think they don't like each other. I just by their attitudes and their personalities, I think going into this, they do not like each other, right? I don't think Danny Briggs is grabbing a beer with Real One. I don't think Real One is getting in the booth with Danny Briggs, dropping some tracks.
I don't think they have anything to talk about.
I think just kicking ass, Lizzie. I think that is the only thing, and I think they're gonna do it Saturday. Let's do a round table here. Let's start with Julie. Julie, who do you have winning this matchup?
Okay, this is a tough one for me because Real One, Enzo, formerly known as Enzo Amore, he's actually a personal friend of mine. And I'm a little bit biased because I think he's a great person. When he steps in the ring, though, we see a different side of him. You know, on the outside of the ring, we see this guy who loves his fans. He takes a lot of pride in interactions with his fans. He's making music. He's doing all kinds of things with himself, just living his best life. But then when we see him step in the ring, we see a totally different side of him. And on the flip side, like you guys have said, we've got Danny Briggs. Oh, Enzo said he was going to smack up his British ass on the phone, and he was dead serious. That's what I'm saying. We see a totally different side.
Fighting words.
I was just thinking of like totally fighting words
when he steps in the ring. But on the other hand, Danny Briggs, he's got a very different skill set than Enzo does, and he's got a different set of tools in the toolbox. And I think this is going to be a tough one for me personally, but I think that based on what Danny Briggs brings to the table, I'm going to have to go with him. I'm sorry, Enzo. I love you.
Ooh,
also,
Julie, that sounded like a very difficult decision for you.
It was. We'll see if he can prove me wrong. Oh,
I'm sure Real One will always try to prove all the doubters wrong in his life. Anyone that bets against him, he will try to prove wrong. But on the flip side of that, Danny Briggs just winning tag team championship gold. You know, he must be feeling good. He wins out on his singles matches, and going into this one, I feel like he's got all the momentum here in the last territory. He really, as of late, has been making it his home, but you never can count Real One out. What do you think, Lizzie?
Lizzie thinks that, like everyone is saying, this is a very two distinguished different styles, right? So I'll start with Real One. One of the best on the mic, period, in the wrestling business. I think that nobody talks shit like him. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see. I hope he gets on the mic. I hope I just get to hand it to him and just listen to it live. I feel like that's going to be so fun. He definitely has a super distinct style, but I'm going to just transition over to my guy, Danny Briggs. Guys, we can't deny him right now. I don't know what it is. He's been a different wrestler lately. We've been seeing a very different Danny Briggs. It's almost like he's reinvigorated. He looks like he's turned a new leaf in his career. I don't necessarily know what the actual trigger was, but I've really enjoyed seeing him still be a singles wrestler, but also now he's coming into gold with Stallion Rogers. He's locked in, definitely. And I think that the fans are noticing that. And if we're talking about going toe-to-toe on the mic, he can go toe-to-toe with anybody on the mic as well. And I'm not saying this because, you know, obviously he's with CCW. He's here all the time. I don't want to meet that guy in the alley of any pub. So I think, like Julie said, I'm just going to go with my guy, Danny fucking Briggs. I think he's going to come up.
Ooh, wow.
Hey, and sometimes that's the only way you can say that man's name. Axel, do you agree with Lissy there? Do you think Danny effing Briggs is going to get the victory?
I would say that I'm not a betting man, but if I would bet money on Danny Briggs because he's been on a roll. He's been more focused as of late. He is not. Every time we do these CCW Insiders and we discuss a lot of his matches, we're always thinking, let's see if he continues to prove us wrong. And he does happen to have the upper hand. And he hasn't proved me wrong. He continues to prove that he is one of the best in the ring. And he's been doing it as of late, whether it's in singles competition, in tag team competition. I think, and nothing against Real One, but personally, from what I've just been seeing as of late from Danny Briggs, I have to give it to him.
It's hard not to. I mean, like I said, he just won tag team championship gold. He goes in there in singles matches. He finds a way to get the job done. He's your wrestler's wrestler. He's got that British hard, strong style. And I mean, it's going to be a tough night for Real One, but Real One's so damn scrappy. Xenia, what do you think?
We've been talking about how it seems like they don't like each other, but another question is if there's anyone out there that either of those gentlemen actually likes.
Yeah, that is true.
If there's anything that these two have in common, is that they're not in this business to make friends. They're here to destroy their opponents. They're both laser focused. They're both unorthodox. They're both intense. And yes, like we mentioned, very different styles. Real One being more of a cruiserweight, and Danny Briggs, of course, being more of a strong style hooligan, the self-titled strong style hooligan, football hooligan. The one thing that they do have in common is they are going to give it their all. They're going to give everything in that squared circle, and they're going to be at each other's throats. And I think I'm going to use my one cop-out pass on this
don't
question.
do it. Don't do it, Xenia.
Hey,
Don't do it.
you can do it. Go ahead.
I just hope everyone has fun and gets some exercise.
Yeah.
Well, now I gotta be the bad guy here. Listen, this match, I mean, the fans are gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun, but I think Real One, Danny Briggs, they are going to be throwing some big haymakers out there. Mm-hmm. I think Real One needs to use that trash talking. He needs to play any mind games he can to get into the head of Danny Briggs. And I think he will do that. And I think the Real One will use that scrappiness and that experience to his advantage and get the victory over Danny Briggs. Axel, you had something to say there.
I mean, I just questioned a little bit of maybe the tactic that Real One is known for, but when you think about it, as experienced as Real One is, Danny Briggs has been in this game for 20 years. He's seen just about anything, and I don't think that you can pull a quick one on him. So that's just where my thought process is, just a little bit as scrappy as we've seen Real One is, and a former champion in his own right. I just think it's really hard to try to knock Danny Briggs off of his momentum or his pedestal at the moment.
Hey, and my rebuttal to that, if anyone can pull an upset on Danny Briggs, it will be Real One. But that is why Saturday you have to see, you have to buy your tickets, ccwrestlingfl.com. You got to get these tickets to this show. It's our super show in Port St. Lucie. But, this show ain't over yet because Nelio, the disruptor of disruptors, I have some questions. And he always asks.
Well, the question's there.
The best questions. His first question, Tyler, psychedelics good or bad? Well, if I did know,
remember
if
that we're on YouTube.
I did know.
Remember the YouTube policies.
If I did know about psychedelics, I would think they were really, really, really good. Now, Lissy, you got a question. Artificial intelligence and wrestling, what's the future look like?
Am I getting this question because I work in tech? That's my response.
Oh.
But I think that AI has a place in wrestling. It definitely does. Nelio, if you want to talk more offline with me, I'm more than happy to have a chat with you personally.
Oh, she's prepared. She says, I've had this topic in my mind already. Let's chat about it.
AI broadcast teams, AI wrestlers, AI everything. They're just gonna.
I think with AI, maybe we may be getting some of our dream matches that we never thought we could get. Right? Maybe that's where that's where my head is going at with AI and wrestling. Maybe we might see a China versus Charlotte Flair match, and I'd be like, whoa, okay, I'm in for that. I'll pay however much money.
My only gripe with AI is that as good as it is, there are still some things that it doesn't do that well yet, even if you instruct it to. So we could be like trying to plan one of these dream matches, Axel, and we could get like a weird like bizarro version of whoever we requested. So until it gets a little bit better, I say we need to keep it real.
I think AI is good when it's a tool. When it serves you instead of you serving it, there's all kinds of creative things should still be on humans with human brains and human hearts. But AI is a great writing tool, a great automation tool. So it definitely has a place in any industry, I think. But as long as you implement it in a way that's smart and that doesn't disrespect the art of the business,
Absolutely. Wow.
So, wait, we have another one. There's another one.
What a thought-provoking question. I get asked about psychedelics and how would I do a death match with Dan Evans. I mean, I just...
Okay, here we go. One's for you. You ready? Axel, best place to drink in Tampa or
McDonald's Brewing, not included. Okay, it doesn't have to be Tampa, okay? Because as much as I love Tampa. I'm a Tampa boy. I've been living here since I was 6 years old. But Tampa's sister city, St. Pete, has some really good spots. Just saying. But if we have to go to one in Tampa, I will say, I don't know the name of the bar specifically. Oh, wait, no, it's the Castle. I lied. It's the Castle in Ybor. The Castle in Ybor. If you want to go to a good place to have a drink and, have some cool, weird fun, definitely go to the Castle in Ybor, you guys. That's my recommendation.
I think cool, weird fun and wrestling just go hand in hand.
I actually think that the Castle would be a great venue if we could somehow manage to get a ring inside there.
Hey, we could do our own clash at the Castle there at the Castle. Actually be in the Castle.
Ooh.
Yeah, we just have to walk that trademarking lines there. All right. I know Nelio's probably cooking up another one.
Spell it with a K.
Yes, there we go.
There we go.
I think we all have a question, so I think I don't know. It's been a few minutes. I think
I think maybe he's done.
I'm gonna say he's done. But wait, I want to say one quick thing. So I know that we're having the after party on Saturday. I'm very excited for that. But I also just want to take 1 second and thank somebody. I know that the wrestling fans, you guys see everything that goes on outside, everything that goes on in the ring, and you see me, you see Axel, you see Tyler. But I always keep in mind the people that you don't see. So we have one person who is relocating. He's been working with us for a few years. He is amazing. He takes care of so many things backstage and logistically that, we couldn't do without him. So I just want to say a big thank you to Lou Reardon. His last show is with us this Saturday. Thank you, Lou. We can't wait to see you on Saturday, and can't wait to send you off properly.
Lou Reardon, absolute veteran of the game. I mean, so experienced, has so much knowledge. Like you said, Lissy, he just does so much backstage. I got the chance to call a couple shows with him as my color commentator. Some of the funnest times I've had on commentary was with Lou Reardon. I forgot about that he is moving, and that this Saturday is probably going to be his last show with us at the Last Territory for the time being. And thank you, Lou. Great shout out there.
A round of applause for Lou. Thank you, Lou, for everything you've done, man. Yeah, thank you for everything you've done, my man.
Yes. And before we wrap up, we had some breaking news. I just want to show these real quick. We don't even have to say anything about them. We'll just get our reactions afterwards. But Bash at the Brew, the last Bash at Unbranded, the card has dropped. And let me tell you something. Let's just look at these. We got Jackal Stevens, the CCW Southeastern champion, making his title defense against Domino at the last Bash. Then
5-star match.
We got QT Marshall making his return to Bash at the Brew at the last batch with a open challenge. Anyone can go out there and try to take that heavyweight championship from him.
5-star match.
This next match, oh man, Cha Charlie versus Alex Ocean. You want to talk about a throwback? We're getting Alex Ocean back into Bash at the Brew, and he's going to be taking on Cha Charlie in singles competition. And this one has been brewing for a while. It is the former Knight Riders going to war as Eddie Valentine takes on Joe Garcia in singles competition.
Good friends, better enemies.
Then Skits will take on Agony in a Drag Me to Hell match. I wish I could tell you what that match is going to be, but I have no idea with these two. It's just going to be absolute carnage. And then what can only be maybe one of the biggest matches at Bash at the Brew, Briggs and Stallion will be defending those tag team championships against South American Alliance, The Crown, and 5-Star Era in a TLC match. I mean, I know everyone that's listening right now, if you don't have tickets to this, you're already on ccwrestlingfl.com. You already bought Summer Glory, and you already bought Bash at the Brew, the last Bash at Unbranded, Bash at the Brew 44. Just unbelievable.
Wow. Certified banger right there.
Tyler, how'd you get all these graphics so quick? That's why you have to keep up.
Because he's the man, you guys.
Don't sleep on him. Okay, you don't need AI when you got Tyler.
I don't know about all that, but
exactly.
As long as our fans keep up with all our CCW socials, they will be up to date as well with all these matches dropping. It is the last Bash. It is going to be big. But first, we got to focus. Summer Glory. We got Super Show after Super Show here in August. It is Summer Glory, Port St. Lucie. It is going to be unbelievable. And Axel, guys, I think we have made it to the end of our show.
Yes.
I mean, why don't we get wrapped up here?
Yes. Well, first and foremost, we'd like to thank Julie Cutler for joining us here tonight for CCW Insider. We look forward to her debut here with CCW later this fall. So don't miss it out. If you guys are going to be there in October for Concert to Sydney, be there now. Oh, last minute question. Last minute question.
Oh, pick a superpower: strength, X-ray vision, super speed. I pick super speed so that I can be at all CCW shows.
Good answer. Good answer.
Great answer. Great answer.
Axel, to respond to you, I just wanted to once again thank you guys so much for having me. I am absolutely thrilled to be a part of your team. I feel like this is an all-star team, and I'm just so honored to be amongst you guys. And I will see you all on Friday, October 11th in Kissimmee, Florida, when I make my debut appearance. So very much looking forward to that. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Julie.
And lastly, but not least, if you guys wanted to stay up to date with everything that CCW is doing, well, follow us on our socials. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X. If you guys want to call it X, it'll never be X to me. God, no, it will never. But follow us at CCW Live TV for all of the match cards that are going to be dropping for Bash at the Brew. For our later shows coming up, we have Coastal Cup next week, as well as Rumble in the Jungle, and as well as Nashville. We're heading up to Nashville next week, so definitely get up to date with everything that's going to be going on. And if you aren't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, go to YouTube to Coastal Championship Wrestling, where you guys get every Tuesday, except for this week. You got it today, actually going to coincide with our own episode, but you get the entire of the Battle of Nashville tournament for the CCW Tennessee Heavyweight Championship. It's up now on YouTube for you to stream and watch at your leisure, and definitely also have an array of library of great CCW matches that you guys can enjoy. But without any more, we'd like to say goodbye to all of you. Thank you for joining us. Join us next week here on CCW Insider, next Wednesday at 7-ish p.m. so that we can get started with another great discussion of the matches that are going to be coming up for our 3-packed show weekend. That's going to be in, where are we going to be again? Oh my God, Pompano, Nashville, and Doral. 3 shows that we're going to break down next week here for you guys. So definitely join us next Wednesday at 7 p.m. I'm Axel Rome. That's Lizzie, Tyler, Xenia, and of course, Julie. Thanks for joining us here at CCW Insider, guys.
Thank you, guys.
You have been watching CCW Insider, produced